Second award is equally important to us. It's the Good Guy Award, named after Steve Schoenfeld, who also came to Arizona in 1988 when the Cardinals moved here. Covered the NFL and the team. Died in a hit-and-run pedestrian accident in the year 2000. So, and it goes to a guy who is not only a player who is not only available consistently to us, but who cooperated, who was insightful, who gave time and thought to his answers. And this year, that award goes to Kelvin Beachum. So congratulations.
Thank you. How y'all doing today? Thank you for the award. Really appreciate it. You all have been so gracious to us this year, considering all things. So hats off to you all as well.
Kelvin, why do you think it's important to be a stand-up guy to answer some of these questions?
You know, I think at the end of the day, I was with Rodney Monday night, and he said, man, one of the things that you learn from seasons like this is you learn how to treat people. And considering everything that's happened this year, the wins, the losses, the tough losses, the tough outcomes, you still have to treat people the right way. And like I said, you all have been gracious to us, in the media this year. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about how you treat people. You play in this league long enough, these types of relationships come around. I still stay in touch with beat writers from Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and New York. And it's all about how you treat people at the end of the day.
Cliff was saying how much he appreciates you, especially being available, and doesn't understand why you need to do it. Called you the CEO. You don't have to be here, but he wants you to be back. You've been through a lot this year. The whole line has. When you hear that, what do you think of it?
We got one more game. That's how I think about it first and foremost. We got a great opportunity in front of us, and that's really what I'm focused on right now. It's kind of hard to focus on anything outside of that, except that we got an opportunity coming up this week. And I think when you play in this league long enough, that's the only way to think, is to kind of think about what's right in front of you. You don't really have time to kind of look at it from a bird's eye view because you have to be in the weeds, on a day-to-day basis.
Kelvin, playing in a position that requires so much chemistry between five guys, and you could include a tight end at times too, how difficult has this been on you with so many different configurations of the offensive line this season?
I think at the end of the day, it's relationships. We had a number of guys that were here during training camp, a number of guys that I played with before. So, I've had, Will Hernandez, you had Leroy, you had Max Garcia, who I played with last year at that position. At tight end, with Zach and our rookie Trey, and then Max Williams. I mean, there are relationships that kind of go hand in hand that have been invested in over the past couple months. So in that regard, I've had a chance to at least know who I'm playing with. But it is a chemistry deal, and at the end of the day, you have to have time on task, and we hadn't always had that, at different points in the year. But at the end of the day, that's what you call to do. You call to play the game. You call to plug and play, and the next man up is the mentality that you have to have in the National Football League. And when there's an opportunity to be successful and an opportunity to leave a good impression, you got to find a way to get it done.
Back to even the offseason, what's this year been like for you guys?
It's been wild, man. It's been wild. You had everything that was going on with the contract situation with the quarterback. To start the year off. At the end of the year, we had a death by one of our teammates. Before training camp, we had speed racers that were going on before training camp. You got to training camp. You had hold-ins that were happening in training camp. You got to the season. I mean, it's a whirlwind. I mean, that's just the start of it. But it's been treacherous to say the least, to be honest with you. But all in all, we've learned a lot about each other. We learned how to grow with each other. We've learned how to lean on each other. And we found out a lot about each other. And at the end of the day, this will be the last time that this particular group is together this Sunday. That's just the nature of the National Football League.
I think you just revealed why you got this award. This is the first time from a player or anyone we've heard the word, the admission of hold-ins.
I probably wasn't supposed to say that.
So you skipped over a whole lot of other things too.
Yeah.
Kelvin, how do you, I guess with this, a lot of that, how do you get this team back on track?
You know, the thing is I'm only guaranteed one more week here, so I don't know, what's going to happen after Monday, to be honest with you. I know there's going to be some changes that are made. I don't know what those changes are going to look like. I think you have a good nucleus of people that are here. You got some young safeties and Budda and JT. You got a young crew of linebackers, and Majay and Cam and Zaven and Isaiah. So you got a good core of folks. You got K1 that's going to be around for a long time. You got Rondell and Zach that are going to be back. So you have a good core of guys, and it's going to be on that core to decide, what they want this franchise to look like over the next 2 to 3 years. Because the nature of this game is it's always going to turn over every 2 to 3 years. That's just how it is and how it's now structured. So you have to really lean on that core. So that'll be a good question for the core when they come back for OTAs in a couple of weeks.
You want to keep playing, Kelvin?
I would love to keep playing. My body feels good. I don't know if my kids want me to keep playing, but
Does your knee and your ankle want you to keep playing?
ask me that in 2 months. But right now, I'm drugged up enough where I can. Yeah, I'm just being honest, man. I got a week left, and you play this game long enough. I mean, that's just what it is. Toradol has helped me quite a bit this year, so it's just what it is.
To fight through those and keep playing, why did you want to do that?
At the end of the day, Mike Tomlin used to say this all the time, but the best ability is availability. And I take pride in being available. I take pride in being here for my team. I take pride in my name and what my name stands for. My dad still every morning is up at the shop working on cars. My grandfather is 95 and still up every morning working on cars. They take pride in their work. And at the end of the day, if they can take pride in their work, I can take pride in my work. At the end of the day, this is a kid's game that I get to play for a living. Ryan Clark said it best, a couple nights ago. We all dream of playing this game, and to be able to do this as long as I have and to have as much fun as I have, I'm really a blessed man.
Were you watching the Monday night game with Rodney, or did you watch what happened?
Me, Rodney, and a couple other guys, we were actually sowing into the younger generation. We had wings and wisdom, so eating some wings and just talking about life. And when we finished that Monday night, that's when I heard about it. I actually got a couple calls about it. So I wasn't actually watching the game when it occurred, thankfully. My kids weren't watching the game when it occurred, so it was surreal to get back in front of a TV and hear about everything that was going down. But was thankfully in the fellowship of other guys that have been around the league for a long time and just learning and spending time with one another. Again, this is the last time this group is going to be together, so to be able to spend time with one another and just talk about life was something I really enjoyed Monday night.
With what happened that night, what's it been like in the locker room this week? Do you feel like there are guys that are struggling with this, or do you feel like everybody has kind of worked through it?
It's interesting you say that because I was out on the field today, and you're kind of numb to it, honestly, because you're tasked with playing the game week in and week out, and you sense something and you see something and you feel something like that happens on Monday night, and your heart goes out for the family, your heart goes out for DeMar, and you just don't know how to cope with it. Like, there really isn't a way to cope with it. There isn't a way to talk about it. We talk about it amongst each other. We're praying for them, and we're trying to find a way to play football in spite of. But there is really nothing that can be done, nothing that can be said, nothing that can help change what your eyes saw and what you felt when you saw it.
Does it make you think about your health, your safety, your future anymore after something like that happens?
I think about my safety and my future quite a bit, in playing the game. When things happen with JJ early in the year, that makes you think about your future. I'm around that age. JJ retires, and I'm literally walking into the weight room, and I'm like, I just don't got it today. I just sick to my stomach, just don't want to be here today. So those thoughts and those emotions rise up from time to time. Calling my parents, you mentioned, how I felt, calling my parents that night, Monday night, and hearing their voices and hearing my dad ask questions that I'm not ready to talk about. So those things do, come up from time to time from different people in my life, my grandmother, my mom, my dad, my kids, hearing my son say, hey, Daddy, I'm scared to play football. Like, those are questions and concerns and emotions that you have to find a way to deal with right now. And I got a son that's old enough to actually understand what's going on the football field and wants to play around, but those emotions are real. Those conversations are real. And sometimes you got to find a way to compartmentalize it. It goes back to your question, do I want to continue playing? I want to continue playing, but it's, do you want to continue compartmentalizing everything that comes along with the game as well?
Kelvin, will you share what you said to your son? Because I feel like maybe a lot of parents are getting that question from kids these days, or find themselves in that particular spot. And I'm not saying you have the answers, but something maybe you could share.
Luckily, K3 is at Disneyland for his birthday, so I didn't have to actually have anything to say to him. He told my wife told me, and that was the end of it. For a child, it's so interesting. Their memory and their conversations are so fleeting. They ask the question, they go to sleep, and they forgot they asked the question. So I don't know when the conversation will come back up, but luckily I didn't have to actually address the situation at the time. He's enjoying his birthday celebration at Disneyland.
You've been talking about it yourself just right now, but how real or how prevalent is the conversation in the locker room about, this is the last week for a lot of guys, this could be the end for a lot of guys here or somewhere else, and the importance of putting stuff on tape for the future?
It's super important, and that's just the nature of the National Football League. This is where we're at. You got 5 days left to put the work in. You got 5 days to enjoy, the pleasantries that we have right now. You have 5 days to enjoy the relationships that we've been able to form. You got 5 days to continue playing foursquare in basketball in the locker room. It's just the nature of it, because it's going to change, next year. So, and that's just the finality and the reality of the game that we play is, you have 17, 18 weeks to be with each other in a professional setting. You try to do everything that you can to find a way to get into the dance. And if you don't get into the dance, you know that there's going to be some changes that are going to take place in the offseason. Hold on, we done passed up a couple times. What you got?
As JJ gets ready for his final game of his career from an offensive lineman's perspective, what makes him one of the best? What makes him so difficult to go against?
That's what makes him one of them. I mean, you hear that all the time. Literally, that's what he's saying out there on the field. If you ever listen to like his audio, that's what you hear in audio. But I'm not going to miss that any more than anybody else. But he is an amazing player. The frame that he has, the ability that he has to bend, the way he plays with his hands, his effort is outstanding. Has always been outstanding. From an offensive lineman, you hate him. You want him to be on your team, and luckily, I've been a teammate of his, the last 2 years, and have appreciated battling him in the practice, much like I battled against him a number of years when he was in Houston. But he's going to be, he's going to go down as one of the best for a reason. The ability to be able to disrupt the quarterback even without touching the quarterback, whether that's the offensive line sliding to him, whether his ability to get up and get his hands on the ball. He just did a phenomenal job of really wrecking games, and you had to always know where he was on the field. And even in practice, you got to know where he is, in practice. So he's going to be missed, but his presence was felt for a number of years across a number of offensive line rooms.
How do you feel that surprise a kid named Devin with Super Bowl tickets? What would it like to get a chance to do that immediately?
So I'm looking forward to actually taking him to dinner. So he is at Europe. Me and Roger had an opportunity to surprise him with 2 tickets, blew his mind. He happened to be a Seahawks fan, which I was surprised by a little bit. But he has 2 free tickets that he have opportunity to bring him and a guest to the game. But he's going to J.P. Morgan and have some relationships over there. So I'm excited to sow into his future from a professional standpoint. And at this point in my life, I always enjoy kind of spending time with younger people because I get energy from them, and the energy that he displays and the rigor that he's displaying to be able to go and pursue a career in finance is something I'm really excited about and something that I'm excited to support.
How do you feel that the coaches and Cliff have dealt with all the adversity that there's been this season?
I think they've handled it really well. The injuries, the poor execution on our part, but they've owned it. When they've put us in bad situations, they've owned it as well. So I think they did a really good job of handling and trying to manage, everything that's happened this year. And by no means is this should this be normal, but this has been the year that we've had, and I think the coaches, Cliff and Coach Joseph have done a phenomenal job of just finding ways to still keep us upright. In spite of everything that's happened this year.
Hey, Kelvin, when you started playing football, did you want to be an offensive lineman, or what was your?
I started as a tight end, man. I got moved up. I got moved to left tackle, so I didn't get to have the glory that comes along with playing tight end.
Most guys don't start wanting to play offensive line, right?
I wouldn't say that. I just think that based off of the characteristics that I had at that age, they felt that it was a little better for me to go inside, and it panned out pretty well.
You ever had a tackle-eligible play in your career?
Yes. I actually started a game at tight end against Tennessee in 2013, and ended up finishing the game at center. So, it's just, again, it's the National Football League. I've been all over the place.
Let me rephrase that. Has a pass ever been intended for you?
Yes, and it was not thrown my way.
Let's see this talk about he used to be tight end coming up. Have you guys ever tried to see who's got better hands?
No, we haven't. Me and Leroy, we keep things copacetic. He's my locker mate, but I've never had that conversation. I didn't know that. It's something else for us to talk about during our rookie dinner that's coming up here pretty soon.
So why do you call him Leroy?
He just needed a country name, so I just gave him Leroy. That's what I call him. Yeah. So y'all never gotten this out of me, huh? Yeah, what you got? What else we got?
Beach, what is it about O-linemen that have this personality? It seems like you guys are the comedians, the jokesters, the buddy cop comedies of the team. What is it about?
We love each other. We love life. And at the end of the day, we love having fun. We missing Pew right now because Pew is usually this person, who's holding court as usual. But he's doing his thing on the real estate front and showing us how to do real estate. But we love life. We have an appreciation for camaraderie because that's all we do is hang out with each other. We have an appreciation for the grind of the game because at the end of the day, it's all on us when we need it, and it's all on us, when we're losing. So, we got to find a way to get it done no matter what. And I think as offensive linemen, we take pride in that.
You're obviously a good guy and a good teammate, and also a leader. When you first came into the NFL, was there somebody that kind of took you under their wing that kind of helped you become the leader, the person that you are now?
I had a phenomenal locker room when I got into Pittsburgh as a rookie. Offensive linemen, Max Starks, Willie Colon, Marquise Pouncey, Ramon Foster. Had defensive players that were great, Brett Kiesel and James Harrison. So just had a phenomenal locker room of just how to lead, how to serve, how to get back into the community, how to bring people together, how to galvanize, and had a really good quarterback at the time that took me under his wing and showed me everything that I needed to know to play the position at left tackle. So was blessed to have a really, really good locker room and a really good culture to come into when I was a rookie.
What was it like playing for that organization? I mean, they're in some ways the gold standard when you look at the way teams change coaches, and they've had 3 since 1969.
Yeah.
What was it like being a part of that organization and their culture?
The culture was the standard is the standard. It sounds very cliche, but that's just what it was. And I think everything that you learn there, it permeates throughout your career. If you look at anybody that started in Pittsburgh, it's just a way in which they play the game and a way in which they go about it. And was blessed to see what it was like to be a part of championship caliber, on and off the field on a daily basis. And, I really appreciate that start because that start gave me, at least the foundation of what it was like to be a professional. Thank you.